Hello and good evening to you all. It's Sunday the 7th of April. Welcome to the Sim Shack and to me, Sim UK. I'm going to take a little look at Fishing North Atlantic, a game that I haven't played for an incredibly long time. But I've now been able to configure it so that I can use controllers properly without having to use third-party software to make it work. So I thought I'd do a little bit of fishing, and if anyone's interested, we'll have a little chat about what must-have features we want to see in the Ships at Sea game that's about to release next month. Was it this month? I forget. In the next couple of months, at least. So, it's been a while since I've played, and although I've spent an awfully long time trying to set up these controllers, I haven't tested them yet. So, not entirely sure what's gonna work and what isn't. We are ready to go. I've just bought this ship. I've borrowed 2.5 million to buy the Coaston. We'll take a look at it whilst we're going out. We're loaded up for crab fishing, and we've actually got some pots out in the middle of the sea. So what I might do is drop down a couple of tester pots somewhere, and see if we can't find some crab. I can't even remember. I can't even remember how to get out of the port. How do I get out of here? Press escape. That would do it. All right. Let's back her up a little bit. So, I've got a long history with this game, not all of it good. Before they released Fishing North Atlantic, the developers, or the community leader, I don't know who she was to be fair, sent me an email saying, we've learnt from our mistakes. Because what they did in Fishing Barents Sea was they listened to all the arcade players who didn't like how difficult the ocean was, or how difficult it was to catch fish. So they made everything easier, and then get into first person view. So they made everything easier and just basically destroyed all the simulation elements that was in the game. Oh look, I've got the searchlight on. One of the things I definitely want them to fix is the keybinds and the controls and stuff. They're a mess. I mean, they were added very, very late on. One of the things they promised they were going to do was add wheel support and controller support and stuff, and arguably it's here. I mean, it is here, but unless you've actually tried to use it, you don't know how screwed up it is. It's not really screwed up, it's just badly done. Everything works, it just doesn't work very well. And therefore it gets slightly stressful. How do I get to first person view? Primary, blah 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 blah. Let's try that. Oh, okay, I've got that double bound. That one. That one. That's the map and the horn. So I've double bound pretty much all of my buttons by the looks of things. That one doesn't seem to do anything. Let's put it on that one. Options, controls. One of the things you'll notice is that, like for example, open map, which I just pressed this button here was the horn. You can see that it's, although it's, oh, it does tell me there's a conflict if I hover over it, but it doesn't tell me which button I've actually got pressed in here. Nothing shows up. So for some things, stuff doesn't open. So if I get rid of this one, which I can't do, reset. See, it doesn't come up with the button name. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's very sensitive. Right, let's get to first person view so I can get out of port. Doing. Conflict with toggle binoculars. That shouldn't be a problem. Because if I'm in first person view, then the only time I'm going to want to press that is when I want the binoculars. So we're all good. So that works. That's still controlling the searchlight. If I press J to stop searchlight, then I can look around. Okay, good. So, hopefully you guys can see my controllers a little bit, on and off, when the setup allows it. And it's nice and dark. I do like that it's dark. But if you just look at the lighting, even in here, is very poor. Very, very, very poor. And one of the first things I noticed about the trailer was that the switching over to the Unreal Engine meant that all of the shading and lighting and stuff was being handled by the game, by the Unreal Engine, and it looked a lot better. A lot better. If for no other reason, then we're actually going to get effects on the windscreen. Whereas in this game there are no effects on the windscreen at all. It doesn't matter if it's raining or you're in heavy seas or whatever. And I say that very loosely because there are no heavy seas in Fishing North Atlantic, which is just such a shame. And I think almost everyone who bought the game, even the arcade players who didn't like it when it was too hard, even they were disappointed that there was no sort of challenge in the ocean. So right at the very end of the trailer there is a 10-second snippet, maybe a 5-second snippet of a fishing ship going over a big ass wave. So I'm very, very, very much hoping that's going to be included. These are the things we need, you know. We don't want fictitious made up difficulties. We don't want it to be fake and unrealistic. What we want are the realistic dangers and downfalls of fishing in the North Atlantic to actually be present in the game. I mean, that doesn't seem like too much to ask for, in my mind. I mean, it's hard to do, don't get me wrong, but fishing Barents Sea had tidal waves. I remember one of my greatest, and I still maintain this was their biggest mistake, but one of my greatest memories of that game, fishing Barents Sea, was that I took Grandad's boat, as it's called. Oh, this is narrow, isn't it? This is scary in first person view. Grandad's boat. Oh, there's land right ahead of me. I'm so glad I put the binoculars on. Good Lord. Okay. Where's the next buoy? I see it. So Grandad's boat, that little tiny boat that you could go out and catch like 100 fish in or whatever, do a bit of line fishing. I remember I was running out of fuel. I was fully laden, so the boat was heavy, and the tide was going out. And I had to manage the use of my engine whilst rolling with the waves in order to get back to shore before running out of fuel. And that was absolutely fantastic. I mean, really fantastic. I so enjoyed doing that. That was by far my favourite experience of all. And it wasn't long after that that they completely did away with tidal waves close to shore, which just ruined it for me. And then they started nullifying all the waves and stuff. I'm entering shallow water. Okay, let's slow down a bit then. Take this nice and slow and gently. Keep the old binos up and on. Oh, they're back to front. That's not helpful. So this is a classic example of what they've done well, but I fear that they've done it without really knowing how they've done it. This is something that you used to be able to do in Farming Simulator. So I can look up and down using the hat switch on the joystick whilst I'm in binocular mode, but I can also come out of binocular mode and look left, right, up and down using exactly the same keybinds. And then if I bring up the searchlight and you look outside, you can see that I can now control the searchlight left, right, up and down, again using exactly the same controller. So that's one input doing 3 different jobs, and that is what you want, because otherwise you're going to have 10,000 buttons trying to make everything work, and that's just crazy. You can't have that. So I hope they retain that. I hope that's something that they retain, but my fear is they don't actually know how they've done that. It's just a byproduct of their design. If they switch over to XML keybind management, which is what Farm Sim 17, well, I think was the last Farm Sim that didn't do it. So maybe Farm Sim 19 is when they started doing it. And that just meant that you had to like double, quadruple or more the number of controls that you had. And they did that in favour of console players who are quite happy to press L1 triangle and lick their left nipple at the same time in order to turn the headlights on. But for a PC player, that's just simply not an option. Hey Merlin, how you doing? You hope they learnt their lessons from the feedback in the last 2 games. I really hope they do. And I gave them plenty of feedback. I mean, loads. And they promised me before the game came out that they had learnt their lesson. And then when Fishing North Atlantic came out and there were no waves, I mean, look how flat this is. It's totally ridiculous. I can't remember how to get to external camera. Right, we can go full pelt at least now. Almost heading out to sea. But the lighting, although I like how dark it is, the lighting is horrific. I mean, it's really bad in this game. And in the Unreal Engine, that is one thing at least that should be better. Even if they just stick to the default lighting option that comes with Unreal Engine, that would be a significant improvement over this. In all honesty, I'm not sure what engine they used to build this game in. But we've seen, or I've seen in the trailer, numerous very exciting things. Water and wind and weather conditions affecting what you can see out of the window. Windscreen wipers, something we've all asked for 1,000,000 times and never got. The lighting seems to be improved. The ability, of course, to get off the boat and walk around. That's a huge plus. I never expected that to be an option, if I'm being totally honest. If I had a list of 100 things, it would probably be in that list, but it would be very low down in my hopes for the game. So I mean, that's a huge exciting phenomenon. Hey Spike, how you doing, buddy? The removal of the waves and weather in a ship game was not the best idea. No, it really wasn't. I don't know why they do this. They listen to the gamers, like the arcade gamers, all the time. They call it a simulator, and then they listen to the gamers who say, oh, it's so difficult to find fish. No, this isn't the new one, mate. We're just talking about the new one. The new one's called Ships at Sea. This is their last release, which is Fishing North Atlantic. Which kind of took 1 step forwards and 2 steps back, in my humble opinion. Fishing Barents Sea started out brilliant, and then they sort of, you know, as Merlin says, took out the wind and the waves and the bad weather, because people were complaining about bad weather in a North Atlantic fishing simulator, or even a Barents Sea fishing simulator. I mean, what on earth do they know about fishing? Absolutely bugger all. Absolutely bugger all. Yes, but I very much doubt I will get a key for the new game. As you know what I'm like. When I get keys to games, I review them honestly. And I reviewed Fishing Barents Sea and Fishing North Atlantic very honestly. And that means highlighting all the issues. And I didn't hold back. And I did say I would never play or review another one of their games. But, and this is key, all this stuff that's working here now, the joystick, I'm using Honeycomb, Bravo throttle quadrant and Alpha yoke. And it doesn't matter what controller system I use, it works in this game. It does detect and run almost everything. There are a few buttons that don't work, and I don't know why they don't work, but they don't. But it pretty much detects and runs every single device. So that's something they promised me before the game even released they were going to do. And after I said I'm never playing or reviewing another one of their games, I came back to it after 6 months just out of curiosity and discovered that they had finally added wheel support and controller support. So I was like, okay, so rather than barefaced lying to me, I think they were absolutely useless at communicating with me. Bearing in mind that some of my videos have got tens of thousands of views for this game, and hundreds, maybe thousands of people probably bought this game off the back of one of my videos, or have benefited from one of my videos. So, you know, when the first Fishing Barents Sea came out, they sent me so many keys. They sent me box sets. They sent me, I've got a map for the Fishing Barents Sea game, like full collector's item stuff, and I was totally into that game. And then they started nerfing it. Hey Wolfgang. Yeah, a lot of the people who complain just want it easy so that they can succeed. If they don't succeed, they get bored. 100% agree with you. That is, unfortunately, that is what I think we are producing. We are producing children with incredibly short attention spans. They don't feel like they ever have to work hard for anything. Everything should be made available to them immediately, on a plate, no questions asked. It just seems, and I don't know how it is that they have the loudest voice, but it's not the first time a simulator has listened to arcade players and taken their recommendations over the simulation community, who on the most part, I would say, are quite patient and quite respectful. And you know, as long as we're kept in the loop, I think we're pretty fair and understanding. Right, so I think there's some crabs down here, but that was a month ago. Look at that, a month ago. That is a long time back. So there's probably no crab there at all. But there's got to be crab in that area somewhere. So we're going to go down, we're going to take a look. See what we can find. Got to stop pressing that button. What the hell did I bind to external camera view? I'm sure I bound something. Could bind that, I suppose. Hey Nurgle, yeah, you're going to get banned, I think, probably by the end of this stream. I didn't get banned from Discord at all. I don't know where you got that idea from. It's what you said during the stream of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Those who want it to be a game have misunderstood what it is. Exactly, yeah. This is, I mean, the term simulator became, I think, I blame Farm Sim a lot for this, I think. Farm Sim have taken the word simulator, and then, I remember distinctly, right, there was this interview that Giants did, okay? I'll never forget this German guy, and I forget now whether he was speaking English or speaking German and it was translated, so it may have been lost in translation, but he said, and I quote, "We could make Farm Sim 19 or 22, whichever one he was talking about, the most realistic game you have ever seen, but then nobody would want to play it." And I just thought, what flipping planet do you live on? Because 99.9% of the mods that I see, especially the most popular mods, are mods that make the game more realistic and fill in the gaps that Giants have, you know, not bothered to do themselves. And in fact, even when Farm Sim 22 came out, all they really did was pinch some of the best mods that the modding community have been working on producing for a long time, and just claimed them as their own, which obviously isn't true, and a bit disrespectful, I think. But yeah, they call it Farm Sim, but then they don't make any effort to make it as realistic as possible, which is the complete opposite of what a simulator is. Other games I've pointed out and held them up to account for. Sail Away. I said to them, what the hell is that over there? My God. Hopefully that's a long way away. What is that? Wow, that's maximum zoom. I think it's a long way away. Whatever it is. Yeah, so Sail Away, I said to them, I said, why does the ship never sink? Why do the masts never break? Why do the sails never get ripped in high wind conditions? Why does none of anything that ever happens to sailors all the time happen in your simulator? And I think the community response was, it's a simulator, not a game, and there's no sea monsters either, or something like that. And I just thought, you just don't understand what the term simulator is, clearly, if that's what you think. I mean, it drives me mad. Can you imagine Formula One racing drivers playing a simulator that had no physics, that had no damage, that had no consequences to anything they did? They would never learn anything. Fighter pilots do simulation flights way before they ever get in an aeroplane. Airline pilots have to go through stringent simulation tests and exams before they're allowed to take a real plane on flight. It's just crazy. These people don't seem to get it. Oh, Cattle Crops was wonderfully realistic, Spike. I totally agree. Almost to the point where it was too realistic, which I know sounds ridiculous, but they were focusing so much on the realism that they forgot to add sort of gameplay. Like, I remember distinctly walking around was one of the most painful experiences ever, and they never bothered to fix it. If V-Step wanted, they could add fishing to Nautilus and they could kill off ships at sea if they make it like this one. They absolutely could do that, Merlin. 100% agree with you there. But in order to make that work, they're probably going to need 2 years, maybe longer, to do that. What's weird is their commercial fishing simulation already has that facility and more. So they're capable of doing it. It's just that they've, instead of taking what they had and converting it to be a home sim, they've started again from fresh. So they really are starting from nowhere. In the new flight sim, you suggest that you should be given the option to have economy if you want it, but the economy should be realistic so that you simulate it, not as a game. Yeah, I'd love to see that. And again, I don't know if you remember, but when Microsoft Flight Simulator first came out, one of the things they said was, we could do that, but we're not going to because we don't think that's what people want. Well, they've clearly realised that 90%, if not more, of people on Microsoft Flight Simulator have adopted to or signed up to some sort of economy system so that they've got passengers or cargo or something or other. I tell you what I'd love to see, Wolfgang. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. A2A were the first ones to do it in FSX, but persistent aircraft. So if, for example, you treat your plane badly and you land way too heavy, way too hard, over and over and over again, maybe you damage the brakes or the wheel or the undercarriage itself so it doesn't work properly, or if you extend your flaps way beyond the safe flap limits, then it should rip your goddamn flaps off. They should be broken, and the next time you come to play the game and you get in that aeroplane, it will be where you left it, in the same condition that you left it. That for me is simulation. But are they going to do that? That's the question. Obviously they've realised that they need to do more challenges and more immersive sort of missions and stuff. So I mean, that's kind of cool. I'm kind of excited to see how that works. Plus the performance should be a lot better because they've learnt from some of their mistakes. Absolutely, Spike. You do want purpose in Microsoft Flight Simulator, in any simulator for that matter. It gets boring going from place to place and not getting anything apart from the fun of the flight. Absolutely. There needs to be a risk and reward system to any simulation that you fly. I mean, real world pilots get a license at the end of it and get to fly proper aeroplanes, so that's their risk reward. But in a game scenario, yeah, we need something risk and rewardy as well. We do need something. Can you imagine if F1 23, and I'm not saying that that's the most realistic sim in the world, but could you imagine if that released, and rather than having a career or the ability to run your own team, the only thing you could do was just race on each tracks, but you never accumulated points or anything like that. There would just be no point to anybody ever racing anything. People would be so bored of it. You did damage the flaps one time, but it didn't affect the plane for the next time you used it, but you did have to restart the sim to fix it. So which plane were you flying, Wolfgang? Because there's only A2A that I know of that has persistent aircraft. There may be some from Black Box, I think, are maybe dabbling in the persistent aircraft arena, but I don't think they've actually done anything yet. I could be wrong. I haven't flown for months. The Bonanza. See, I don't think the Bonanza is a persistent aircraft. Unless, of course, what you mean is you landed, you broke the flap. See, I don't think you can damage the flaps in the Bonanza. I could be wrong. Unless it's a third-party aircraft, none of the Microsoft Flight Simulator aircraft have any sort of damage system on them. The only thing that they have is a failure system, so you can set something to fail within the next hour, 40 hours, 40 days, 40 weeks, whatever you want to set it at. That's the only thing they have at the moment. I'd love to see persistent aircraft. You know, if you fly a plane and you treat it badly, you go away for a week and you come back, it's still going to be broken and you're going to have to go through the process of fixing it. And if there's an economy system, that's going to cost you money and it's going to take time, and maybe you can't get a delivery to where it's supposed to go because your plane's broken. I mean, these are the things I'd love to see. Yeah, that's a good point, Spike. Even in LMU, which is Le Mans Ultimate, for those of you who don't know, you have to earn a safety rating and a driver rating, which then gives you purpose to drive the online races, which is all we have as race weekends. It's just a one-off race. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And if you've, I don't know if you've seen the Ships at Sea trailer, but the bit where the bloke is rowing the boat, for me, and I could be proven wrong here, but for me, just that little snippet really shows a buoyancy relationship between the ocean, the waves, and the boat itself, which I haven't seen in either Fishing Barents Sea or Fishing North Atlantic. So I'm hoping that the whole physics system has been dramatically improved. I can't know this until I get my hands on the game. I would say it does look awesome. I agree. And I'm sure Mel probably likes the oh, I know what Mel likes. I remember you saying not only the fact that you can get out of the boat and walk around, but you can actually take the boat out of the water and clean it. Excuse me. Yeah, that is, again, if I had a list of 100 things, that probably wouldn't be on there, but it should be, because cleaning the hull of a boat is something you have to do every, I don't know, depending on how well you look after it, every 6 months or every 2 years or something. It's definitely a factor that every ship has to take into account. And if you're a fishing open sea fishing boat, then you're going up against some of the worst weather, some of the most aggressive weather conditions that you can find at sea. You know, very, very, very hardcore being a fisherman. There's no denying it. I had a friend who was a fisherman, and wow, some of the stories he came back with are just... You question why on earth anyone would ever pick that as a job. It's so dangerous, so dangerous. I mean, you've got knives that are so sharp you could just slice your own arm off if you're not paying attention, you know? Absolutely crazy. That's another thing I'd like to see in the game, which I don't think is in the game. But we have crew. It would be nice if very, 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 very rarely a member of crew got sick, or a member of crew who was a rookie and hadn't been out to sea before got seasick and couldn't then perform their jobs, or even, you know, seriously injured. And then you've got to make the decision: do we go back to port? Do we, you know, just press on and hope he doesn't die? I mean, I'm really pushing the limits of what you would expect to see in a sim by saying things like that. But when they've already included the ability to take boats out of the water and to clean the hull and repair elements on the boat, I mean, wow, that's really exciting stuff. So the premise is there. The premise is really good. But my concern is they promised me, and I don't think I've ever shown the email, maybe I have, but they promised before the game ever came out, because I made complaints in Fishing Barents Sea about how simple everything had become, and they promised me that they'd learnt from their mistakes, and they weren't going to do it again. And then they brought out Fishing North Atlantic, and there's not a wave in sight. You can't find difficult weather conditions, even if you deliberately go out on the worst possible weather days. It's still nothing. It really doesn't even make you blink. You don't have to worry about it at all. You're glad that you were born after Grimsby died as a fishing port, as you'd probably have got a job. I tell you what though, you can earn a lot of money fishing. There's definitely money. Well, there was money in it. I don't know about nowadays. Probably got some weird fishing rules that say you can only have straight fish or something. They've got to be a certain colour and a certain weight and all that already. But I'm sure they've come up with like a million other things to make life as difficult as possible. I can't see a bloody thing out here. One thing we haven't got in this game, unless there's a way of changing the... I can't remember now, it's been such a long time since I played. Does this game have radar? If it doesn't have radar, then radar is definitely something we need. Because in weather conditions like this, you would be reliant on radar. And fog. Fog is another thing we never saw. That's something you suggested in ETS and ATS, that your drivers make mistakes and damage the trucks depending on how good they are, so you have to pay maintenance on their trucks as well. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I think he's talking about AI drivers. But that's one of the issues, isn't it? Because they did bring in second-hand trucks. And for a minute there, I was like, oh, brilliant. I've always wanted to see second-hand trucks in ETS. You know, maybe the indicators are broken and you've got to get them repaired, or maybe the engine overheats if you drive at high revs for too long. I thought, yeah, this is fantastic. This is really going to add to the realism. But I don't know if your experience is different to mine, but the amount of times I've tried to buy a second-hand truck in ATS or ETS, and there just aren't any. The only ones you can buy are the brand new ones. I mean, how the hell did they screw that up so bad? I think there was some sort of licensing issue, wasn't there? So maybe you have to download damaged trucks or something. I don't know how. I don't know what's going on there, but a bit of a disappointment. And again, and I've said this a million times over as well, you're probably bored of hearing me say it, but in ETS and ATS, why the hell can't we get out the truck and walk around? Like every single truck driver has done for the last 70 years. If they're driving into an area they don't know well, they get out and they assess the maneuver they're going to have to make. They try and get some sort of focal points, so they go, okay, I've got to make sure that I'm further across than that so that I can get an alignment here, and I've got to watch out for that post over there which I won't be able to see from the truck, but I know it's there so I can factor it in. None of that's in the game. It's just, why is that not in the game? There's no radar. Okay, I couldn't remember if there was, so thank you for confirming. Yes, they're also the same price as the new trucks as well. Just, I mean, why? And they've added ABS, and the game has been out for, what, 20 years? I mean, goodness me. Goodness me. Yeah, Wolfgang, I would like it that you can meet your drivers and also that you could see your fleet. I mean, they don't have to be like driving around and stuff, but I'd just like to be able to go to a garage that I own and have all the trucks that I own there. As long as, you know, you've told your drivers to bring them back to base or whatever, and they physically are there and not out on the road, then yeah, I'd love to actually see my trucks and just inspect them or something, you know? Yeah, or see the trucks if you're driving in the same place. They did that in Bus Sim 21, didn't they? And I really found, well, Bus Sim 18, I think they started that. I really found that a very sort of positive, rewarding experience, in the sense that, you know, you've bought all these buses, you spent thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of pounds on them. Fantastic, that's what you want. But then to never see them again, it just kind of feels like you've just, you know, okay, yeah, sure, in ETS and ATS they earn you money, but it just feels very detached. That's something I'd like to see in Fishing Barents Sea, actually. I think that's something that people came up with before. Like, one of the requests that they really wanted was the ability to own more than one boat and then hire crew to take your other boats out. I mean, that would be fantastic. And the economy in Fishing Barents Sea and fishing North Atlantic, it's way too easy to get money, I think. Way too easy. And you've got to have some days, like if you've ever watched these fishing programs, they go out, they fish for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days, and they catch nothing at all. And then they've somehow got to factor in paying the crew, getting the fuel, getting new bait, fixing the pots, repairing any damage that's on the boat. You know, it becomes a real multifaceted challenge, and that's exciting. I like that. That's what I want to see. 18 Wheels of Steel, you could radio other drivers and ask them about the weather, or they warn you that cops are ahead. That would be a nice feature, yeah. I'd like to see that. Yeah, Wolfgang. So I've uploaded a video myself where, in fact, I've uploaded the controls so that you can get out of your truck using an Xbox controller and walk around. and I've designed it in a way so that it never goes up or down, but stays at the same certain height. So you're always sort of at head height, and you walk around at walking pace. So yeah, you can kind of jimmy it, which again, you know, just begs the question: why haven't they facilitated that to work properly? Why have they not bothered to actually implement the ability to walk around? There's another game, On the Road Truck Simulator. They have the ability for you to get out of the truck and walk around. That's a game actually that I keep meaning to have another look at, but having some technical wheel issues at the present. Yeah, they do. They make it easy to make money to keep the crybabies happy. I wouldn't call them crybabies, but yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. I don't understand why you can't have a toggle button that says realistic arcade mode. Simple. Everyone's happy then, and then they don't have to fix anything in the arcade mode because it's all arcade, and you know, there is no challenge. It's not difficult at all, so anyone can make money and do whatever they want. But for the hardcore players who actually want, you know, a proper simulation experience, you know, that's got to be there. It's got to be implemented. Right, we're almost at point here. Somehow I need to... Okay. So one of the problems I've got is when I bring this dial up, I can't use my hat switch to select anything, so I have to sort of double whammy it. So I'm holding the button with my left hand and trying to do the mouse with my right hand, which is not as easy as it might sound. Right, so I haven't put anybody on food. He's my cook. Victor, look at his cooking skills. He is a legend. A cooking... Oh, flipping hell, come on. So we'll put him on that. Rudy... He's not really very good at anything. What should we put him on? We'll put him on the crane, I guess. Pot baiting. He's pretty good at pot baiting. We'll do that. So he's going to prepare the bait. Nora's, I think, our best crew member we've got, so she can bait and set the pot. We don't really need anyone doing anything else, so I'll just get him on repairs. We'll leave that running. So that does that. That does that. That brings that up. So I need an Xbox controller, really. Wolfgang, yes, there is a there's a couple of mods actually for more realistic economy. I've used most of them, and they definitely improve things, I grant you. Can you walk around in Truck and Logistics Simulator? No, you can't. That's something that they're missing. Even TML with its coach sims allows arcade or realistic modes, and they're not the best sims out there. Yes, true. Is what we're looking at now something that's shown in the game? No. So this game that I'm playing right now is their last release. This is Fishing North Atlantic. Excuse me. I'm going to try and add an Xbox controller here. 1 second. Apologies, I should have done this before I started, but I've only just thought about it. Wireless controller disconnected. That's obviously the wrong message because I've just connected a wireless controller. Right. So we're back in the game and now I have a wireless controller. Okay. So, I mean, this aspect of the game is phenomenal. Just the fact that you can come out here and walk around and see everything. But do you see how clean everything is? And how crisp everything is? The lighting is just so unrealistic. It's insane. And hopefully that's something that will be a lot better in fishing, in ships at sea. The fact that they've got multiplayer as well, let's not forget that. That's a huge, huge positive. I was talking about the crew, but what I was talking about, you couldn't see it in the stream. Are you serious? Let me bring it up again, and I'll see if what you're saying. How do I do it on a controller? Not that one. Aha. Oh yeah, you can't see that. Oh, I know why you can't see that. Okay. Give me 1 second whilst I just switch camera. So, I've got a very wide monitor. There we go. So I have a very wide monitor, so right up in that left-hand corner. That's where the crew thing popped up. But in order to make it fit on a 1080 or a 2K screen or whatever it is I'm running today, I can't remember now. But in order to make it work on that, I have to basically trim that and that edge off. I completely forgot. It's the first time I've streamed on this PC, so I'm not surprised I've got a few issues and bugs that I've got to sort out. So yeah, sorry about that. Thank you for highlighting that. That's a valid point that you made. I think you can actually go down there. Yeah, look at that. I mean, I can actually do the jobs that these people are doing themselves. But I mean, why buy a dog and bark yourself? See, things like that really impress me. Just adds to the realism. Makes me feel like I'm really there, sort of thing. This guy's supposed to be prepping the bait, but I haven't started the process yet. Here's the chef. I mean, at this part of the game, you can't really fault it, can you? God, that is tight, claustrophobic. But in fishing Barents Sea, they'd have made that open as well, so you could go down below decks and see the engine and stuff like that. They took all that out. I don't really know why. Can I go up the top there? We used to be able to do that as well. Go up and check on the radar. See, I think we've got radar up there. Look, that's a radar sensor as far as I'm concerned. correct me if I'm wrong, but if we don't actually have radar in the game, you've got to wonder why. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? Stunning views. Right. Somehow I have got to start the process. So do I press A to set gear? Is there any way of clearing that? Right, I'm going to carry on till we get to our final destination, and then I can focus on the next step. So is that working now? Can you all see all right? Where is my... There it is. Heading straight at it. Gorgeous. We're about to get a fantastic sunrise coming in. Which, if there's one thing you can say that they've done well, it's this. Look at that. Look at the sun coming up there. Just makes you feel wonderful. I don't know if you guys have ever been on a cruise, but for me, I always try and get up at least once or twice whilst I'm on a cruise and go and see the sunrise, because there's nothing quite like seeing the sun come up in the middle of the ocean. It's a totally different experience. It really is beautiful. And it makes you feel so small. It makes the world seem so big, and you just this tiny little insignificant thing in the middle of an ocean. It's good at putting things in perspective, I think. Just highlights that, you know, there's nothing overly special about you, but you are very, very fortunate to be there in that moment, seeing the sunrise. It's just phenomenal. Highly recommend it. Right, we're at our waypoint. Now, somehow I'm going to start setting pots. The radar is linked to the range of the map on the screen, you think. I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but there's certainly no radar pings or anything that I've noticed. There could be. It's been such a long time since I played, I can't really remember. Right, how am I gonna do this? Let's try and... Nope, not that button. Set gear. Oh, that's me turning the headlights on and off. Can't set gear before it's been prepared. Okay, let's have a look. What have I done wrong here? Crew menu. So he is preparing the bait, and it looks like he's prepared the bait. So she is on bait and set pots. So why are they not doing that then? What have I done wrong there? Where's my crane guy? I imagine you're the crane guy. okay. That was obviously a shortcut back to the boat. Oh, a sonar, but no radar. God, it's been a while since I've done this. I've pressed something and now the UI isn't showing up. What did I press? Right, okay, so... Do you think I need somebody in the salt crabs department? I don't see why. We haven't got any crabs at the moment. There she goes though. So she's at a station but nobody's actually doing anything. So storage doesn't do anything and equipment doesn't do anything. Any ideas, lads? Wolfgang, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Have a good night's sleep, my friend. I'll be joining you fairly soon. Well, not joining you. That totally sounded wrong. I will also be going to bed fairly soon. The map screen on the ship. The map screen on the ship, the better the radar, the further you can set on the range. Yeah, I think you can zoom in and zoom out on... Is that what you mean? But there's no radar, so to speak. Right, let me try this. Set gear. Can't set gear before it's been prepared. Okay. Can I take over this machine, mate? Oh, what's this? Ah, you got to turn it on. There's a little switch there. Do you see it? On the right hand side. You've got to switch from setting pots to setting... Like bring them in or setting them out. That's what I didn't do. God, that took a little bit of figuring out. Right, so this is all automated. She's in there. She's putting the chains on, hooks on. Bait has gone in, I think. And we're ready to launch the pot. Okay, so... If I get back in the pilot seats. First one is down. Right, let's get going. Hey DJ, thoughts on the new game from the dev who made this one? Well, yes, that's what I'm asking. What would you like to see in the new game? That wasn't in the first two, but you would desperately like to see added. We've come up with quite a few lists, but fundamentally we just want it to be more realistic. Things like, you know, if you go out in atrocious weather and you take on too much water, then your boat's going to sink and you're probably going to drown. Things like that, you know. So that when a hefty storm is coming in, you have to make that decision. Is it safe to continue, or should we head back to shore now, even though we haven't got a full set? Things like that. I mean, obviously there's a lot of things in the trailer that look better. The lighting looks better, the physics and the buoyancy looks better. The fact that we get excuse me, wind and water and weather effects on the window and windscreen wipers that we can use to sort of facilitate being able to see, that's all wonderful. The fact that you can get out of the boat and walk around and do things on the shore, the fact that you can take your boat out of the water and repair it and clean it and, you know, do all those kind of good things. These are all huge improvements to the game, hopefully, if they're done well and they work well. But yeah, what other things would you like to see? What limitations did you find in the first two? One of the things they have done, obviously, is they finally added controller support. It's a little bit clunky, to say the very least, but at the end of the day, it works. Just about. In a kind of ham-fisted, a little bit slap-face way, it does work. Right, so I'm going to slam down 5 pots here, and we'll put 5 pots over the other side, and then we'll head back into Dennis, and we'll have a break, and then we'll come out and see if there's any fish. Not fish, that would be bad. Crab, as soon as we're hunting crab today. You can actually automate this as well. I did automate it in the first 2 games. So you can say, you can use a voice command basically and tell your crew what you want them to do in terms of pots. So I could say to them, set 5 pots 30 seconds apart, and they would, you know, using voice attack and all its fantastic features, you would be able to do that, or they would be able to do that, and it just adds again a little bit more to the immersion. In fact, whilst I'm thinking about it, one of the other things I'd like to see done, because obviously if I look over here to my right, you can see we've got 2 throttle handles. So we have a left engine and a right engine, but unfortunately in the game we only have the ability to bind 1 axis for that. So what I'd love to have is the ability to have, you know, 2 engines independently controlled by a controller, and then you could get into a situation where one of your engines breaks down. So now you've just got to use your left engine or your right engine, and that's obviously going to put a lot of stress and strain on that engine. It's going to be more difficult to fight against the waves if you're in bad weather conditions, and when you get into shore, it's another cost that you have to factor in, you know, and it's an important cost. But you know, all of this is just kind of, it was just kind of missing from the first one. It didn't matter what you did or when you did it, everything just ended up resulting in making money. It just zero effort at all. This little boat is totally going to cut me up, isn't he? What's he going to do? Where's he gone? Where has he gone? Crazy little boat. Oh, he stopped. Thank you for that. That's another thing I like to see, you know, collisions with other boats having significant and perhaps potentially catastrophic consequences. I remember seeing, I don't know if anyone else saw this, I was watching the ocean race where they race the Imica 60s. They're they basically look like sailing boats with two fins coming out of the side, and they do like sort of 30, 40, 50 knots maybe, something like that. Maybe not 50, that's pushing it a bit. But let's put some more pots down whilst I'm chatting rubbish. They hit this little fishing boat that was moored up completely by accident. I don't think they saw him, and if they did see him, they didn't have enough time to avoid him or whatever. But yeah, this fairly large. I've seen an Imica 60 down in Poole. They're not that big. They're not huge by any stretch of the imagination. But it hit this little fishing boat, and it spun it like 360 degrees, maybe twice. I don't know how nobody got injured, but it was frightening, really frightening to see it. But you know, stuff like that, you know, collisions do have consequences, if in no other way than, you know, through damage of the hull or whatever. And although they have damage in this game, and I'm not forgetting that they do, I could take my ship down to 0 hull and not lose the ship. I'm pretty sure. It doesn't actually sink. So I think I'm just going to drop 3 pots here. I'm fairly close to the shore. Actually, having watched monster lobster catchers on telly, close to shore is where they tend to find the bigger red crabs. So if this was in any way realistic, then that might be a good place to actually drop them. Let's drop a last one here. Pretty good, pretty good. Right, come up to crew menu. This guy's resting now. We'll switch to bringing pots in. Oh no, I think she's doing something. That's good. Right, so they can all take a break and get some chow. There's plenty of food there because the chef has been doing a good job. We'll just bring her into port. I'm hoping that's another thing that's improved as well, actually. Docking. At the moment, you can just fly in there at maximum speed, pull up on the throttle at the very last second, and no problems whatsoever. You could even just drive straight into the dock if you really wanted to. You take a little bit of damage, maybe 5-10%, but nothing significant, and away you go again. You know, docking a ship, regardless of its size, is probably, I would argue, the most dangerous thing you do. To have a simulator not simulate that just feels wrong. Where is the bloody port? I can't see it. Try and not hit that jetty on the right. I'm going to try and do a 360 turn, dock at port, have a break, and head out and get those pots. Can't actually remember how long the pots are meant to be out there, so this could be interesting. Okay, here we go. Oh my god, I am awfully close to that edge. Oh yeah. Classic example. I think if you did that in real life, you may have to take the boat out of the water and see what sort of damage you've just done. Don't know if you can dock from first person view. I may have to go... Oh, look at that ship there, look! It's sinking! Did I hit them or something? Oh god. Too many things going on. I'm getting all sorts of distracted. I seem to have turned my HUD off again. Not quite sure how I did that. Can you dock from inside? No. Apparently not. Okay, I'm going to have to set up a keybind for this then. Huh. So we've got a button here to switch to first person. But no button to switch to external cam. I pressed that before I thought about what button I was going to use. Okay. Okay, so all that does is turn on and off. Oh, maybe if I get a bit closer. Yeah, what the hell's going on with those boats over there, look? What's that all about? I'm pretty sure I didn't hit them. That's definitely half submerged. That's not a good look for that boat. Alright, let's roll forward. Turn, damn it, turn. There's got to be a way to get to the external camera. So, not my greatest parking ever, but at least I can dock now. Right, how long do I need to leave these in the water for? Let's say 16 hours. And then I'll have a look at the map. Ah, there we go, perfect. Well, I'll say perfect. I should be pulling them in right now. So, let's get the bow thrusters on the go. Oh, I don't think this one has bow thrusters. No, it doesn't. Alright, so we're going to have to back out. And then get forward. Ouch! I just paid $4.5 million for this boat. I don't know why I'm treating it so badly. I didn't realise it didn't have bow thrusters. My last boat had bow thrusters. Made life an awful lot easier. Let's go round the broken boats. That one's upside down completely. Things like that need to be sorted out, don't they, really? If nothing else, they should be sinking to the bottom of the flipping bay. Right, let's go find these pots. back on the cook. Get everybody sorting crabs. That guy back on the crane. Doing repairs. So I might be able to pick these up in return in reverse order. Because I've noticed that they've just gone green. Fingers crossed. You're on a ship watching me drive a ship game. Are you really, Captain Aloha? Whereabouts in the world are you? And what kind of ship are you on? Crew are ready. Not sure if we've got working lights on. Could have sworn I set the lights up to these buttons, but never mind. You're on the George III container ship. Oh wow, whereabouts in the world are you? If you're allowed to tell me, I don't know if you are. Between Honolulu and California. Wow, wonderful. That's pretty cool. Whereabouts are you heading? Is my pot. I can't see a thing. Let's get this camera. This oh. Oh my god. Slow down. I think I saw it. Oakland bound. Okay. Doing 20 knots, fair seas and swell. Wonderful. Perfect sailing conditions. I envy you quite a lot. Although I've never done what you're doing, I've been on a few cruise ships and there's nothing more peaceful than looking out at a tranquil ocean, I find. Beautiful, beautiful views. What the hell is this thing? Over there somewhere? That's a boat. Isn't it? Is that a boat? Yeah, that is a boat. Okay. Where's my pot? Straight past it. Oh, nuggets. Right, back it up, back it up. Oh, there it is, right there. Bloody hell. It really doesn't look that close to me on the old thing. It looks miles away. Ah, right. I tell you what might be an important factor. Which side of the boat does the crane pick it up from? Well, it looks like it's that side. Let's do this one on the outside because I've never actually picked anything up with this this ship before. Scare the living daylights out of that little boat. I'm pretty sure the hauling pot mechanic should be automated because I've got a person on it. As I say, I've never done it in this ship before, so maybe there's something different. Just trying to see which side of the boat it wants to pick it up from. Really? You're not going to pick it up from there? No fish were caught, low population. That's disappointing. No idea why that didn't pick up automatically. In my other boat, it would have done. All I had to do was steer next to it. I don't think we're going to find any crabs here. I think they've long moved on. We're going to have to find a different location. Automatically pick up that pot. Don't make me press the button. I do not know why that's not picking it up. Unless, of course, somebody isn't in their correct position. Maybe bait and set pot also means haul in the pot? I don't know. Weird. I don't like this boat much. It makes me do all the work. Alright, let's go check the other three and see if there's anything there. The other five. I rather suspect we're going to have a very low haul. Zero haul, possibly. Gone blue. I think blue means I've left them in the water too long. Crikey, Moses, just gone midnight. Oh, there goes my phone. pot. Where is he? Do I see it? I think I see it right in front of us. Just above the compass there. Almost invisible. And I paid for the upgrade, so you get the night lights and all the bells and whistles on it, but you still can't see the buggers. See if he does it automatically this time. Doesn't look like it. Damn, there's no crabs here anymore. They are long since gone. Actually, I think I got this button set for this. There it is. Damn, no fish. So I'm going to have to... I think I just missed a pot. I have. Completely missed a pot. I didn't even see it. I'm going to have to pick somewhere else to drop these pots. It's going to be pretty much all guesswork. Which is... what new fishermen have to do. They have to guess where they think the crabs and the fish are going to be, and then hopefully over time they find some spots that are hot and some spots that are not, and they avoid the latter. I may have to check the logbook actually and see if it's the right time of year for crab fishing. If it isn't, I've got a big problem because I just spent all of my money on this boat. Zilchio, not a single crab. The crew will not be happy. Say keep your eyes on the prize, but they do kind of sneak up on you, these things. Is I have her in my sights. Alright, well, I'm going to wrap up this stream. I just thought it might be interesting to see what people's opinions were for the next game, what things they desperately wanted to see and what things they were happy to see. There's definitely a lot of positives coming out of that trailer. How much of it is actually true? Have to wait and see, but I hope all of it's true, because it would be a massive leap forward in terms of realism and immersion, I think, for the game, for the series, and that's what I'd love to see. I'd love to see it be all it can be, so to speak. So I think I might head round to the Hawk and drop some pots around there, and we'll see if I can get lucky. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me on the stream today. It's the first time we streamed off this PC, so a few little bugs and issues along the way were expected, but I think it ran pretty well overall. No significant issues. Thank you so much for watching, everyone who chatted and commented. It's always lovely to hear your thoughts, so thank you for that. And yeah, maybe we'll do some more fishing streams in the future. Thank you for your time. I'll see you again soon. Take care. Goodbye for now.
Thank you.